One man show, ENT. It's your man Jay Bird. I will be the masters of ceremony this afternoon. Today is September 29th. I'm about 3 days behind the big fight between the Charlo brothers and their first pay-per-view appearance. I waited this long to do the video. This has been my first video in a while. I tried to handle some stuff, personally, and was in the middle of selling and buying a new home in this pandemic. So I've been busy. So for all my subscribers, the handful of you, I apologize, I'm back. We're gonna make regular content reporting on boxing and MMA news and other various sources depending on what I feel like speaking about. But getting back to the Charlo brothers, as you see in the background, the 160-pound undefeated WBC undefeated champion Jermall Charlo. I made a video, if you look back on my channel a little while back, and I titled it Jermall Charlo is the king of the middleweights. Something took that effect. So I had a lot of backlash from people, saying that I played the race card and what have you. And I reiterate this. I'm going to always cheer for the fighters that look like me. Not that I'm against white fighters or Asian fighters or Mexican fighters, Latin fighters, whatever. I like who I like. And he just so happens to be black. Um, I like Caleb Plant. He's white. I just like styles of fighters, but I will root for the person who looks like me, like every other ethnicity does. But anyway, just to touch on the fights that we had Saturday night, Jermall took on Sergey Derevyanchenko, which his only two losses, Derevyanchenko, is to Danny Jacobs and Triple G. In my personal opinion, Derevyanchenko beat the brakes off of Triple G. He just didn't get the nod at the end of the fight. And we all know how boxing goes. It's political. But Jermall, I wanted to put my opinion out there on where I think he should go next. Now I saw a video reporting with Sean Porter, who has a personal relationship with Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, said that Andrade would beat Charlo. Well, for you hardcore fans know, Charlo and Andrade have been going back and forth for years. Now, we all know Charlo is the WBC champ. Andrade is the WBO. That's the top ranked title. Even though Andrade is signed to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, we all know how that scenario will go. So the likelihood of Jermall even wanting to fight for the WBO is highly unlikely. Andrade is a highly decorated fighter in the amateurs and in the pros. It's just that he doesn't have name recognition, and really nobody wants to see him fight. Does that mean that he doesn't deserve to fight? Absolutely not. But the likelihood of him getting it is not going to happen. So we have to look at the facts here. Jermall has been in the public eye. He's put in the most work. He's fought the tougher fighters. So mentioning Andrade right now for him is really not even in his best business interest. But it is time for the fake middleweight champion of the world, who people still give him clout in that division, is Canelo Alvarez. I don't hate Canelo as a fighter. I don't hate him at all. I just don't like how he moves. And everybody that's his man fans that follow him everywhere he goes act like there's nobody that can touch him. Every fighter can be beat. I don't care who you are, even Mayweather, even though he didn't lose. Styles make fights. We all know that. It's just that Jermall has done enough work and put enough time in to where, just like his brother, it's time for a unification bout. Like I said, the WBO is really a non-factor in most weight classes. That's why you rarely see a WB title holder hold any other belt, because it's all controlled by stables. Look at Terrence Crawford at 147 pounds. Even when he was at 140, he won all the belts. But that's because most of them were owned in-house by certain promoters that will actually make the fights happen with him. And I'm not going to get into that, but my hardcores know. But what I'm saying is the WBC is the belt that pretty much everybody wants, and Jermall has it. But it seems real funny that, every time he's going for an outing And I'm not discrediting nobody that he's fought. But if I look down the last, just think off the top of my head, the last 10 people that he's fought, the toughest would have to be Trout, Austin Trout, which has he's fought both Charlos. Who else? They gave Charlo trouble. You got to mention most recently, Derevchenko, Brandon Adams, and I'm missing one that gave Charlo problems. Now, when I say problems, I mean he didn't. That person didn't lay down easily. Let's just say, for the sake of time, those three that I named: Derevchenko, which is his most latest opponent, Brandon Adams, and Austin Trout, gave him the most problems in his last 10 bouts. Now, with that being said, what else does he have to put on his resume before we stop, as boxing fans, letting Canelo off the hook? I mean, who are you going to fight? Okay, if you don't want to fight Jermall at 160, which will, shut me up and a lot of other people that think like me, if you don't fight David Benavidez or Caleb Plant at 168, you talking about fighting Callum Smith. He all right, but he can't beat either of those guys I just named. Then you have 175. I mean, let's just be for real. He went and fought old drain Kovalev, because we all know how Canelo get down in the contract, controlling people's weight. We're not even gonna get into that. And I heard a bug in my ear today that if you follow Blue Blood Sport TV, like I do, shout out to Blue. He just reported a little while ago that Canelo wants to break Roy Jones' record and go up to heavyweight. I don't care how wide he is, how big his frame is. Man, listen, you can take a top 20 heavyweight and knock Canelo head out the damn ring. Let's be for real. You need to stop letting him cherry pick opponents. And I quote Blue, and I don't know where Blue got this info from. I'm quoting what you said. You said that he's going to wait for a title to present itself. So in other words, that means you're going to wait for a vulnerable, weak champion, just like you did with Kovalev. Because if Canelo can fight anybody that he wants to, he could have fought Kovalev right after Kovalev fought Andre Ward. I would give you more respect for that win, even though the first fight with Andre Ward was questionable. The second one was definitive. He got stopped. So if you're not looking at Jermall Charlo at 160, how can you justify still casting a shadow over the division? If you're out, get out of it. Because we have business that needs to be handled at 160. And like I said before, Jermall Charlo is the best middleweight in the world. I said it. You heard it here first. One man show. Jay Bird out.